Two social workers on a mission to change the narrative, Millennial Babies podcast seeks to empower others in making changes to maintain their physical, emotional, and mental health. This podcast is about becoming the best version of ourselves. I hope you feel inspired. Join Bria Spencer and Fadia Jean-Pierre bi-weekly as they initiate conversations about mental health, fitness, and travel. Share this with someone who needs it. Follow us on Instagram at millennial_babes_podcast, and let's continue the conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Have you ever experienced a shift in your life which just left you wondering, what the hell is happening? We had so many experiences in our lives that have transformed us, that led to literally aha moments and ultimately helped with just facing our fears. We like to think of our transformations as often caused by divine intervention. So let's begin this episode by defining moments that have transformed our lives.
Yes. Well, I am looking forward to this topic for our discussion today. And before we jump right in, how are you feeling, Bria? I think this is going to be exciting.
I'm feeling good. January was definitely, a weird month. I felt like it was a bit of a lingering of still 2021. It's February, so I'm going to say my new year starts today. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for what's to come. I'm in a good place. Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling calm. I think, just like you said, January was a weird month for me too. Like, I can never transition into this whole, routine thing. I'll have some days that are really good and I'm doing really good. I'm organized, and then I'm just like logging too. I think it's just about, staying with the momentum and finding the consistency. Mm-hmm. It's like everything is there, but I think this is why we're talking about this today, right? The divine intervention. And how, it's just realizing like, no, we need to get things done. We need to do what we need to do. And so I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yes. So I guess we just need to dive right in because it's an interesting
Are you ready to dive into this conversation?
Yes.
Are you ready?
I think it's time. I'm ready. It is going to be another level of vulnerability, which is new for me, and I think will also be new for our audience, which I'm also excited about. I guess for this, it sounds like for this season, just getting to know us like on a bit of a deeper level and share our own experiences and connecting with all of you guys in a different way, but more meaningful way. Not only because you guys impact us, but we impact them as well. So yeah, exactly. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah. So let's do this. So as we talk about divine intervention, just like Bria mentioned earlier, it's just haha moments we're experiencing, right? We just find ourselves in these space and we're like, what's happening? What are we experiencing? And so Bria, for you, how do you think it began for you? How do you think you experienced the divine intervention?
Wow. So for me,
or even how do you define you, right?
So first, I would say like how I define divine intervention is just like a coincidence that happens, like, and that prevents something bad from happening, or it's just something that just comes out of nowhere, like in the midst of things that are not falling into alignment as I thought it would, and then just something like miraculously happens, and then you just sit back and you're like, okay, wow, I get it. I see it now. That had to happen in order for this other thing to happen, and be able to shift, my own perspective, or be able to be in a space where I'm saying, okay, I got it. I understand. So I'm just going to try and trust whatever is going on. And so that's how I define it for myself. And I think it definitely started for me in the middle of the pandemic. I was having experiences that were leaving me unsettled, uncomfortable, confused and even depressed. You know, I had just a belief and a vision for my life, and that completely like shattered. It just
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
So a lot of things for me became amplified, and in that state of just confusion, I really just had to like surrender. I had to get to a place to say, okay, this is not what I wanted for me, for my life, how I expected things to turn out. And as hard as it was, like physically, mentally, and emotionally draining, I had to just say, okay, you know, it's of okay, I have to just completely surrender, you know, to God and the Most High, and lean on my faith to be able to just get through this new phase of whatever it is that's going on in my life. And in that, I was able to just be silent and just be still. And so when it comes, how I think about it is when the act of surrendering, leaving it up to, you know, the universe, the God, you know, whoever you believe in, it comes silence. And silence for me was just, I just tuned into my own self and my spirituality and meditation. Meditation really changed my life. And that's where I was able to really just tap into my own intuition and guidance, and be able to listen. They say you can pray, but then in meditation, that's when God speaks to you, or you know, the universe speaks to you. So that's what I leaned on. And I recognize patterns with myself and what it attracted from other people that put me in a position where I gave all of myself and sacrificed my own happiness. That's when I realized, like, oh my goodness, that I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And so it made me also reach a point where I felt so helpless that I literally laid on the floor in the fetal position, crying out for help. You know, I called out to my dad and my sister who passed. And that was my defining moment to say no, no. And I never want to have this experience again. And also be like, what the hell got me here? So it was a lot of it was those defining moments that I would say would be like pockets of divine intervention that led to just several others, like throughout the past year.
Yeah. So basically it's like you had a lot of fears. Like you said, you had a lot of unsettled emotions at first before experiencing divine intervention. Because as you were defining it, you went in more depth and saying, like, for you, it was sitting on those unsettled emotions and realizing, like, these emotions that I was experiencing, these thoughts that I was experiencing, you know, brought you to a space where it was so overwhelming. You were so confused, and you needed a change. You needed something to happen where you can have a different experience. And I think I can, you know, I experienced almost the same thing. Is just being able to say, okay, all right, what needs to change? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to pay attention to? Because this experience that I'm having is so unsettled. It's leaving me with these intense emotions. I don't know what to do with that. And it sounds like with calling out to your dad in meditation, just stop. It helped you saying, okay, let me take a pause. Let me just, like, is this me being surrendering? Is it fear? Like, what's coming up for you? It's like for everyone, right? It's like we deal with a lot of fears. We deal with a lot of unknown, and there were a lot of those themes in there for you. And you just was able to say, okay, all right, you finally allowed the intervention to happen, to begin to transform your life, to begin to say, okay, all right, I no longer want to be where I am right now, because it's not changing. I'm not transitioning to a different space. Like you said, depression, because like those moments, that's where we experience all the mental health, right? That's when our mental health is affected deeply. And so how do we change? What do we need to change within ourselves so that we can work on our mental health, because it can't just happen by itself.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly.
answer just kind of help you transition into that.
Exactly. And it's also it's so important to try and be aware also of how what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and giving yourself those moments, but also not staying there as well.
Yes.
We all have this plan, right? Of how our life should go, what things should look like. And then when it doesn't go exactly how it's supposed to look, we're like, what is going on? And it makes us realize that we don't know our destiny. Only one person knows our destiny. We can co-create our reality, but at the end of the day, we cannot control what what our life will look like, or different situations. So it comes with the act of like surrendering. And I'm wondering for you, like, what was your defining moment for your divine intervention?
I think for me, it's coming to a space and saying, like, it's all my fear that I was experiencing, all the things that I was sitting with, the unsettled emotions, the unsettled thoughts that I was experiencing, is basically realizing, like, no matter what we were going through, or whatever I'm going through, I have to deal with it, right? I can't keep putting it off. I have to deal with it. And eventually I feel like whatever your spiritual belief is, for me, like, the universe was forcing me, or maybe empowering me, to basically do what I need to do so it could be done. I think for me, it started, what I want to say, 2-3 years ago, when basically my plan fell. Like, the plan, like, literally right before the pandemic, like right a few months before the pandemic, my plan fell. So like you said just 2 minutes ago, we create this plan. We think, like, this is the direction we need to go into. Everything is going okay. I'm getting what I want. Things are happening the way I want it. It looks like it's going in the direction that I want to, or not, until it's not, until it's no more, right? And then when everything fell, and you basically say, okay, do I have to start all over again? And I think for me, being in a space where I can either stay in it and be depressed and cry about it, and worry so much about it,
Right.
because I'm a very anxious. I can get very anxious when things are not going the way it's supposed to. And I'm like, what's the result? What's the result? And I like to have plan, because when I have a plan, I feel comfortable, but I was no longer in my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and for me, it started transitioning when my aunt and I had a conversation, and she was just like, you have this trip, just go. I know you were planning this trip and it looked like it wasn't going to happen. Just go. And I think if I didn't go on that trip, I took like almost a month and a half, almost a month off. And I traveled, like, in Asia, right? I went to Bali, India, and Dubai. And I think if I didn't take that trip, I think I would have been in a different space than I am today. I would have been very, very, very sad, very depressed, not sure where I'm going, the direction I should be going. Probably would have been worrying a lot. But I faced that fear. That was fearful to take that trip on my own. I just took it. And that was my transformative moment, because it's like a part of me died before that trip. And during that trip, I was awakened. Like, it's a rebirth. It was a rebirth for me, because as I visited one of the temples in Asia, I realized that one of the photos that I took, there was this light, right? Literally just like piercing through me. And it was like doing a moment of prayer. And it was like my driver that took the photo, and not realizing, like, he was like, no, stand right there. Like, not realizing what he was doing but I wasn't in that moment. And after I looked at the picture, I was like, oh my God, my life is being transformed. Things are going to change for me. Things are not going to be the same. And I don't have to worry so much. And for me, through that experience, that's when I began to experience the shift of not giving up on myself. If I can take this trip and I can have this experience on my own, is to know that there's so much about me that I didn't know, that I need to open myself up to learn. And then also be open to rediscover who I truly am, because the person that I was before, I'm like, was that the person I was supposed to be? Or was I living this dream, or I was being this person because that's what was expected of me, right? This is how I need to be
Yes.
accepted, to be loved, to, to be cared for. And so if I remove all of that, what am I losing? I'm losing a lot. And so coming back from this trip, yes, it made me isolate within a little bit more. Not isolate in a bad way, saying like I'm depressed. It was kind of like, no, Fadia, you need to sit down and really pay attention to the experiences that you're having, and really acknowledge what you're feeling, really acknowledge the thoughts that you're experiencing, because I think I was making a decision and I wasn't processing things. I wasn't thinking about it. And so things were just happening. I think I was just moving in the moment.
Yes.
I was just having experiences. And so when I started doing that and having different conversation and just understanding why certain things weren't making sense, why certain relationship was not working, either it was a friendship, romantic, whatever it was like, why isn't this working? Am I supposed to be in this? Or how come I'm not aligning with certain things? Because I'm not aligning because I'm unsettled within myself. So until I'm settled with myself, nothing is going to align, no matter what I try to do or not. And other people can do for me and they can be very nice. But if I'm not in the space myself where I need to be, all that really, it matters, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not giving it what it needs. I'm not feeding into it. I'm not nurturing it. And so I think for me, I needed that transformation to happen to kind of shift things for me. And I think after I come back from that trip, I realized like, okay, I'm having a lot of aha moments. And I'm like, okay, all right. And don't get me wrong. I've definitely experienced like some, moments where I'm like very upset, right? Like I do have some sadness here and there, but like you said earlier, is not staying in it, right? Not allowing it to be in vain, to know that all what I experienced, I have no regrets. They were leaving imprints. All the losses I've experienced, all the changes that happened were imprints to the transformation that I need for me right now to be where I am today. And I have been on this journey of knowing who I truly am and accepting my flaws. Like the things I'm like, oh, I can't be like this because no one's going to accept me or like me. Oh, it was hard for me to be vocal. So like the more I was vocal, expressing, it's like, no, that's what I need. I can't keep quiet anymore because this person inside of me is like burning to be this person. But like, I was so afraid of like, well, if I show this side of me, I'm probably not going to be liked.
Yeah.
I'm probably not accepted. Right. Yeah. And so I just allowed the intervention to happen, not force it, not interfering. Don't get me wrong. I'm a person that like to be in control of things. And if I let my control self interfere, then things it's going to be unsettled. I have to expect it to be unsettled emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where my divine intervention was happening and how I began to transform.
Yeah. You said like so many gems. And a few of the things that stood out first is fear, right? And so it's like, okay, we have this plan, we have this vision, then we see that it's not going the way that we want. Like certain things are happening, maybe like arguments or just, breakups or just like being in a state of confusion. And it's like, okay, but if I change, if I walk away, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, but this wasn't supposed to happen. Like, why is this happening? And so it goes back to that fear. And sometimes when fear comes up, it holds us back sometimes. It can keep us just in this state of like stagnancy. And for me, it was, if I go this route, like so much is changing. It's not my own life, but so many other lives are changing. And that wasn't part of the plan. And I don't know what's going to happen. And it's through that where you just have to say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling in this moment? Am I afraid? But how am I afraid if I don't even know what's at the end of the tunnel? There's always light at the end.
But that's okay. Yeah, but it's also okay if you're afraid, because when you're afraid, that means that that's where the change needs to happen.
Right.
And because we don't know, we're fearful of the unknown. A lot of us are fearful of the unknown. And I know for me, at some point I was fearful of the unknown. It's like, I don't know what it's gonna be, so I don't know if I should do it. Right. So I was very indecisive. And sometimes I'm just like, why don't you just do it? Like, then you'll find out. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's a mistake, it's a mistake. But at least like you'll know on the other side, because I think we get so stuck in like, well, when it happened like this, there's a similar event that happened like that. This was the result of it. And so I don't want to experience it again. So therefore it's like we avoid the change. But that might be the change you need to happen. Yes, you want to get it right all the time, but we're not going to get it right all the time.
Yeah, we're not perfect. No one is perfect. And and experiences, you know, happen. You know, it's everything. How I see it is a lesson learned. No matter what you go through, good or bad, there's always going to be a lesson out of it. And it's like, okay, if you have something, a similar experience the next time, it's how do you approach it? How do you react? How do you cope versus how things were before? And I think that comes with that act of facing your fears, is trusting that fear is okay. Fear is just another way of saying, keep going, keep pushing, because you never know what good is waiting for you on the other side of it.
Yeah. And not only that too, and what I'm hearing with everything that we're saying too, is what is the level of your faith, right?
Yes.
It's like whatever your spiritual belief is, regardless if you believe in God or not, what is your level of faith? Because you have to have faith in yourself to know that whatever decision you're making, either good or bad, is taking you to the next level. And if you don't take it, then you're gonna miss out. So I think from what I've learned for the past 2 seasons, like, right, with our guests, is they had to have faith to take a leap, right? To say, okay, all right, I've had all experiences, I need to make a change. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm afraid, but you know what? I'm doing it anyway, because whatever is gonna happen, I'm willing to open to see, okay, is this good for me? Is this not good for me? Okay, all right. It might hurt some people along the way. It might hurt me along the way.
Yeah.
I might have to lose certain things along the way, but at least you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be moving. But either you want it or not, it's gonna happen. Change is gonna happen. Fear is gonna show up, right? And so either we let the fear keep us stagnant, we either let the fear keep us stuck. Those thoughts, because if we're sitting with those thoughts, that's taking us nowhere. What facts do we have? We have no facts. Right? If it's the job that you want, go for the job. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do the interview. You're not sure. If it's a relationship you need to leave, then leave. It's okay, because, or maybe you need a space in that moment to kind of say, okay, what's not working right now? How can we come together and figure out what we need to do, right? If it's a friendship, whatever it is, it's like, what is it that you're fearful of? What is it that you feel like you want to step out the door, but it's like you have one foot out, but one foot in? It's like that's keeping you from taking that step, because you're unsure of what's going to happen. You're unsure of the experience. So you don't want to, so you're afraid. So you don't take a shot at yourself, but you're not going to know until you do. And it's definitely a surrendering moment, but we have to get at that. We have to get at that. I know for me, I need to keep doing that for myself.
Yeah. And even throughout all of that process, there will be little moments of confirmation, and you will just know, like, if you made a decision, you will have confirmations like, okay, that was the right decision. This is telling me that I made the right decision to move forward. And it also just comes with trusting yourself. Like you said, you have to have faith to believe, you know, what will be for you and what will happen next. But also knowing that with faith, also trusting yourself, and because we hold all the answers. If we just sit and surrender, that comes with the act of surrendering, is just we hold all the answers within us. We already know, but sometimes we just like, oh no, I don't see it, or no, maybe it'll change. But ultimately, we know that we have to go a certain route where we may have to let go of things that no longer serves us, people, places, or things, and just be able to move forward for our own good. And that's not to say that
or attachment. Yeah, attachment. Like what's your attachment, right, to certain things, to certain people, along to what you're saying. It's just basically you're okay where you are. It's okay. Things are gonna change. It's not gonna stay the same. It's just a matter of like, what support system do you need to put in place for yourself? So as you're going through this transition, that you don't feel like you're doing it alone. You're not alone. You may be making the decision by yourself, but technically you're not alone. It's just allowing things to kind of unfold the way it needs to unfold.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think with divine intervention is basically saying, if you're noticing a shift needs to happen, or you're experiencing a shift, it's just a moment for you to step back and say, okay, what do I need to pay attention to? And what is the haha moment for me, right? What am I fearful of? And what can I do to make those change?
Yeah. In addition to what you just said, like, trusting the fear and where you are, also just knowing that whatever happens, it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And just continuing to believe that you are where you're meant to be. Your path is your path. And continuing to trust in that, and also leaning on your supports. Also have, a strong support system. And even if you don't have that, writing your thoughts out is one of the things that, for me, I'm a talker. When I get lost in my head, I have to be able to talk things out, to be able to, gather my thoughts together to ultimately come to my own conclusion. Sometimes.
Yes,
and
exactly.
For some, if you don't have that person to talk to, just write it out and write your thoughts and your feelings out, to be able to get a clear understanding, that clarity for yourself, leaning on your faith as well. Whatever your spiritual beliefs are, trusting that your faith is your foundation and will ultimately lead you. And so those are definitely some of the things that has helped me. And hope, I hope it helps my audience who I love.
I hope it helps you guys too. Because remember, all the answers that you need is in you. You write your own music, you write your own beat. So like move to your own sound. Like just some time. If you just need that moment to have like that, you need to recognize, or you need that quick like aha moment, just put your hand over your heart, like literally just like that, and just listen to the beat of your heart. It will lead you. It will lead you where you need to go. And so I hope this episode was helpful. And we want to end with an affirmation. So our affirmation for this episode is that I know all things are possible. Let's go into this year knowing that all things are possible, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what experiences you're feeling, no matter what is unsettled. If it's unsettled, it needs your attention. If it's unsettled, there's some fear there. If it's unsettled, you need to tap into to trusting yourself, and just, like I said, put your hand over your heart and just let it guide you. Allow the intervention to happen, and who knows what's at the end of the road. I hope this was, I hope we offered you guys some informative information on how you can begin to transform to be who you are, and to transform relationship, and just to kind of, move along your path. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, guys. And please, if you want to be a guest, if you want to join us, please email us at millennialbasedpodcast@gmail.com. And please subscribe to our channels. We are on YouTube. We're on all the platforms, and also our Instagram at millennial_babes_podcast. Please check us out and let us know what you think, and offer us some topic that you want to hear about.
Yeah, and we love to hear from you all. So if any of our episodes, including this one, I would love to hear your feedback on how you guys felt or whatever resonated with you. Leave us a comment. We enjoy reading what you share with us, and we will